Good day, YouTube. It is the 10th of December 2023, and we have drug in the LT150 John Deere because, well, I guess I really wanted to work on it. And this one's going to require a little extra work. So when you get these things for super cheap, sometimes even free, there's a little of the information that you don't get, or the previous owner mysteriously forgot that, oh yeah, the governor doesn't work on this. So you get it and you discover that along the way. And that is the case with this. We've done a previous video where we got it to run, and then we ordered a carburetor, we put it on, and we got it to run well, except there is no governor control whatsoever. And if you're not familiar, the governor is inside the engine, and it's really all that's connected to the carburetor throttle plate. The governor tells the engine how fast to go or how slow to go. And as you're powering through something, if the engine tries to slow because it's under a load, the governor says, oh, let me give you some extra boost, and it opens the throttle plate more and more and more until it maxes it out, or until the RPM is obtained, the highest RPM that it is designed to rotate at. So this has no governor control, which means it's bad from the inside. This is a 15-horse Kohler engine. Kohler engines are really good engines. I like them a lot. They are my favorite, second favorite probably. But it is not unheard of for Kohlers to have the governor go to heck inside the engine. So we've been working on my other John Deere tractor. I got some other videos that have recently posted, and I'm waiting for parts. So for a week or two, I got a little extra time. I think we're going to work on this one, and let's get that engine dialed in, which means we've got to replace the governor, which means we've got to pull the engine out of this thing. There's no other way around it. It's not horrible. We got to do it. So when I went out to get it and bring it in, you know, it's nice to get them running, which this one runs, so we can drive them around and get them pulled in or backed in or whatever. This tire was low again, so I sprayed some awesome cleaner all over it, and it's clearly a sidewall issue. But I don't know, they're pretty good tires, so we may throw a tube in that, or I may put tires on it. So a little more backstory. When I got this one, I got an L110, I think it is, at the same time, or roughly the same time, and I was thinking of keeping this one, but then I got that, what is it, a LZ178, LX178. I think I'll keep that one. I think it's built a little better, and it's got that water-cooled Kawasaki engine in it. So nevertheless, I've already ordered all the parts that this machine needs, including the governor replacement, including all the deck parts. It's everything I think, or at least that I knew about, that this thing needs. And we just as well work on it for a week or two, or however long it takes to get it 100% and make it ready for resale in the spring. Of course, you know, all of the machines that I do, I've, you know, maybe kept a couple of them, but eventually they go to another home because something else more interesting comes in. So that's the way it is. So let's get the hood off of this thing. The front bumper that holds the hood on is broken. So it's the lift off hood at this point, but I do have the bumper, this piece here, because this one's busted. I got the lift kind of high so we can pull the deck too, but see if I can get this off with it high. Yeah. Yep. Gotta be careful with those hoods. They're A, hard to get, B, easy to break. So there is the Kohler engine. Again, I like these motors, so it should be pretty easy to pull. I think we'll start off by getting the deck out of here, so we can get to the motor mount bolts, which are from underneath. It would just be easier to get to. We're gonna have to have the deck out anyway, so let's get to it. These are pretty easy to drop. I want to let it all the way down, and this has a unique deck drop system where I think it's a pedal on the other side. I haven't had one like it, so let me see if I can figure out how to put the deck down. This pedal on this side, and then oh, I know. You push this down, lock it. You change this to minimal, push it down, unlock it, and deck on the floor. Okay. On this side, you gotta pull a pin. Should be able to pull a pin. I'm gonna get a screwdriver to pull the pin so I don't break my finger. You'll see that little hook right here. I'm gonna try my mini crowbar. That one's finger tight. Yeah. There it is. Alright. I'll go around and get the other one. Alright, this has a kind of a different deck engagement system, and there's just a pin on this linkage right here. There's a little spring right there that holds that up, I guess. So there's a pin down here that appears to be what's holding it in there. Let's see if we can pull it out. Like that. Twang. If I put that back in there, I'll know where it is. That was easy enough. Now then, pull this forward, get the front support out, right? You know what, I'm gonna raise the deck height adjustment arms out of the way by pushing this foot pedal down again. Locking, it didn't take much. Are they out? Yep. Ah, there we go. Now we can get the front support out. And then I can pull it out. Let me get my workmate. Alright. This lines up pretty good height wise. That out of the way. Oh, I didn't take the belt off. Probably ought to do that. And up and over, and I'll do it from this side. Up and over, yeah. There it is. This is like half the weight of the 38-inch deck under the LX 178. This is half the thickness, I guess. Stupid brake things. Those are going away. I don't use them. Feels kind of okay. We'll have to stand it up to know more, but let me get this out of here before I move it. I always want to, not only for me, but for any of you guys too, is a belt orientation. These can get real confusing. You look at them once, you go, oh, I can remember that. No. Draw a picture, take a video, but that is how they roll. I do have all of the parts to rebuild this. So this is going to be a new deck. It's just a selling feature. when I go to sell it, I'll just say everybody's so scared of the working on the deck, which I'm not. Here's where that deck engagement piece went. It was just different than other tractors, so I thought I'd point it out. So yeah, when I sell one, the deck is 100% new, belts new, blades new. So as long as the motor's good, then tires are good, and it's good to go. All right, let me move this thing. All right, let's disconnect the battery now that we got the deck out of the way. Had to put a brand new battery in this. I think I bought 4 batteries in like a month. Batteries and batteries. Drop that one. Rod. Where did it go? There it is. Okay, battery expertly disconnected. Now then, we got wiring over here, one white connector disconnected. We've got, let's see, fuel pump is here on this little boy. This is the headlight wiring. So let's disconnect that. We're gonna cut and plug that. Cut and plug. So you want to have a plug ready. Quarter-inch bolt. She's still seeping a little, but we're going to thread that in there. Thread it on in there. Like that. I'm going to get a rag real quick. We're working on the gasoline. Gas is cleaned up. 7/16 is going to take the starter bolt off. I bet that's a new. I put this starter on. That's right. This thing needed a starter. That's right. The pins were off of it because somebody was going to work on it, and they gave up. Little did I know at the time. They had a governor issue. Didn't know. Would have paid less for it. Okay, so fuel line's off, starter wire off, wiring harness I think is off. Probably just pull this piece of tin off. What's over here? Anything? Anything? Ground strap is. Oh, we have a ground to this harness under a bolt on this side that we need to pull. So I'll pull that and this tin, and we'll look underneath. All right, I made another fuel line for this because this one was leaking. I think this is one of those hoses you get with the carburetor kit, and it's already crispy. It's only been on there a few weeks, guys. Don't use them. And there was, I knew I was going to be into this thing, so I don't really care, but I didn't know they were that bad. Anyway, I'm draining the oil. No sense having oil in it. We got to get all the oil out. We'll just let it sit there and drain tonight. We're not going to get this out of here tonight anyway. I just pulled this plate off in the front here. Okay, bunch of just little screws. And then I pulled the nuts off the exhaust. So I think I think we're ready. Unless there's something I'm missing. Throttle cable is off. This connector is off. This ground wire was connected here with this battery cable. We'll get a new correct stake on that when we put it back together. Oh, it's just a little piece of grass. Okay. I think we're ready to see what size bolts the engine in this thing. All right. So we'll deal with that. We'll get close. We'll figure this out, but we'll pull it in the morning. So it is tomorrow. Well, guys, it is the next morning, but it took like 10 minutes to get this engine ready to pull out of here. So let's see, gotta bring you up to speed here a little bit. The spring on this other side, right there, can you see it? There it is. Yep, I just removed that spring off the idler pulley to loosen up the belt, okay? It was just by hand. And then I could get the belt off of the main drive pulley right there, and then pulled that long bolt out. It came right out, pulley came right off. 4 bolts to remove on the engine mounts, 2 on that side, 2 on the other side. Just grabbed the impact and buzzed them right out of there. So this engine is ready to remove. I have some suspect things, so I wanted to bring up to you though. I got here this morning, there was just a little bit of fluid here below the fuel pump. Okay, so fuel's coming out probably as it warms up and stuff in here. But I think I'm going to replace this fuel pump. I don't think I am going to replace this fuel pump because I suspect it potentially has issues. This engine, I believe, had gas in the oil, and that can be the carburetor or it can be the fuel pump. We put a carburetor on it to make it run, but we're going to do the fuel pump. It's $17, but it's insurance, so it's coming. In fact, I just looked it up on Amazon, and it said it can be here today. I mean, I just hit the button, buy it now button. It's like 10 something in the morning, and it says it can still be here today. We'll see, but it's happened. But yeah, it'll be here today. So we need to put this thing down, lift this engine out of here, and get this thing apart. Let's get the governor in it. Let's get it back together, put it back in, make it go run again. Alright, these things aren't the lightest in the world, but they are doable. Find a decent place to pick it. Got everything disconnected. Okay. There we go. What do you say we take this little dude apart? Okay, I did just disconnect the governor arm that connects to the carburetor and just left it hanging there. We're gonna have to adjust it anyway. I can already tell my batteries died. I have to bust these loose by hand. Ouch. You know what? I'm gonna break out the big guns. Big dog. But that's all, folks. Oil pump there, leave that alone. I'm going to clean up around this crank right here real quick, and so we don't mess up that seal. I have a seal, but yeah, we just will not tear this one up. See if that cover will pop off of there. Wow, she's pretty glued on there, I think. We got it broke loose. We got her broke loose. She's not coming quietly though. Not a good place to grab this. You want to break a cooling fan. Oop. We're moving. We're moving. Get down around this corner. Set this big bad boy out of here. And that one. No good place to pry. There we go. There we go. Yep. Yep. Well, governor broken. Told you. Running down. Zoom in on her. So somewhere in the bottom of this worthless pit is the pin, which is missing from the governor. These little weights are supposed to fly out and push a pin up against this governor arm. We're going to have to get a magnet and go find that pin. Oh, magnet. Oh, shit, it's sitting right here. Sitting there right in front of us all. That's the pin that goes down there. Well, we didn't have to go fish for it. It didn't get chewed up in the engine, so that's kind of good. This thing should just like pop out. And then you put the pin in there and then you reinsert the whole thing back in like that, and that's how it works. So hopefully what I got is correct parts. Should be dirt. I blew this off. All right, let me find my parts here. A little bit of dirt in here. I have to clean it out. A little bit of dirt. Soak up some oil. Clean the gasket. I couldn't find a gasket, so I said they must RTV this, and clearly that's what they do. So I was good there. Let me find my parts here. So this engine is a Kohler CV15S, 15 horsepower S. I don't know what that stands for. Stationary or something. So here is the gear. Looks very much like the new one. Here's part number, if you're curious. Okay. This is the pin. Here's the part number, if you're curious. Okay, and then here's the crankshaft seal. Part number, if you're curious. Alright. So we got the right parts, so we're in good shape. I'm going to take a little time and clean the inside of this engine, clean the gasket surfaces, and prepare for reassembly. Gasket. All right, I'll bring you back when we put her back together. So I clean my gasket surfaces up with the green Scotch-Brite pads. I take my big pads and cut them up into little stamp size pieces. This is how I use them. They'll literally last me, one package will last me a year. And I always have one ready. I open up my little drawer, Scotch-Brite pads. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna run out the shed and grab a oil filter. We'll get that one off of there. All right, let's swap that seal out. Get the old seal puller. Wow, that seal's in there. Smokers. Sorry. This thing's tough. There we go. I'm tougher. One seal expertly removed. New seal installation. Sure went in there deep. Is that okay? I guess it is. Yeah. Went in there deep, but it needs to be square. Maybe just a little more on that side. It's already lubricated. Okay. Ba-dum-da-dum. We're gonna throw that filter on there. Tight as you can, by hand. Woohoo. All right, let's drop that governor in there. All right, put the pin in first, then slide the whole thing in place. Ouch. There we go. There we go. Click. 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 All right. Now, let's seal this bad boy up, shall we? You're going to move over here. We're going to silicone this up. Don't go crazy with this, right? These are machine surfaces. They fit tight. Okay. Got a goober. There we go. Another goober. Feel it on my finger. Still there. Quit it. All right, I'll finish this up. All right, there's a couple of passages here that we're going to wipe clear. I don't want any. This is probably just a dowel. That's fine. Okay. Looks good. Let me throw some oil on that seal real quick. Oiled. Little tappy with a plastic hammer. Hello. Yeah? What's the problem? What's the problem? Where's my little bar? My little crowbar. Everything is way good. Oh, but it's the dowels that were fighting us. Okay. It's the dowels. That last 1/4 inch. There's one over here. And one over here. I'm gonna put a couple bolts down to see if if we're aligned. We definitely are. We are over here. Come on, drop in there. Alright, let me fight it. Guys, what I finally figured out is these dowels are loose in here and they didn't line up real good. So I'm going to pull them out of the block and put them in the pan in hopes that they fit better in the pan. Okay, reseal. Hopefully this works better this time. All right, fit. Tired of fighting it. It's got to be right. Still fighting it. All right, this could be a rookie mistake on my part in that I didn't know anything had turned, but I think we have the oil pump drive shaft to line up. Let's check that out. Yep, it's a little off. There it is. Dang. It's got a flat side on it, and it was just a little off on the oil pump. Somehow we gotta rotate something here and get everything to be happy. Happy, happy, happy. All right, we'll put some bolts in this thing. Eight to 10. All right, we're gonna let that sit a little while, let that glue dry, and we'll torque it. All right, it's been a while, went to lunch, things like that. We're gonna torque these down. I don't know what the torque specs are, and I'm too lazy to look them up. We're gonna torque them to 25 foot-pounds, okay? And if it feels too tight, we'll go down to 20. You know what? I'm going to go down to 20 anyway. Because I think it's best. Go to 20. All right. I need to set this governor arm somewhere. I started to kind of set it back on. I'm going to set it somewhere and lock it down, and we'll dial it in after we get the engine on and running. All right, I've cleaned up the mower, the deckler where the engine sits. I forgot to order exhaust gaskets. I ordered them this morning, be here tomorrow. I got half a dozen of them. I went out and looked. I only have Briggs & Stratton gaskets in my stash, so here's what it is. Let's turn this heavy motor correctly right side up, and let's set it back in. Because I'm going to run it, I'm going to use what's left of the old gasket. There. Alright. Sitting back in there. I gotta run the compressor, get some air. We can get the table up. See if we can put some bolts back in the motor mounts. Shouldn't be too hard. Yeah. It was easier to reach them to get them out just with an extension though. Once we get one in, the rest will go easy. There's one. Almost. Come on. Come on. Oh, come on now. That's two. We'll grab the other side also, but let's stick this pulley on while we got it handy. I'm going to grab the belt while we're at it. There. Come on. And there's that bolt. I'll get the other two started and we'll get those all tightened up. We're just about there. All right, motor mount bolts with a 13 millimeter. Ugga dugga. Can't find it. I can't find it. Oh, come on. Good. What's that? That's it. Crank pulley is a 15, no, 5, I got a 5/8. Sure that's right? Yeah, 5/8. Come on, socket, go on now. That's tight. All right, I'll grab those other two motor mounts, get them tight, moving on. All right, put the belt tensioner spring back on. Let's drop the jack down and finish the exhaust, which I'll probably have to pull off again tomorrow, put the new gasket in, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. So I got the nuts started there. Half inch. half an inch. Okay. What do you say we hook the fuel line up? It's going to leak some gas again, like it did yesterday. I threaded that bolt in there tight, so quit leaking. Hello. Come on. Yup. Yup. I change this fuel pump tomorrow. We'll make that gas line a little longer, shall we? And we'll hook the starter up while we're here. Then I think we'll put oil in it before we forget about it and try to start it without oil. This engine's been abused enough having a lot of fuel in the oil. Okay. Yeah. All right, I got a little oil going in there. Well, that container is dripping dry. Let's throw the throttle cable on. Just jam her in there like that. Now then, all the way that way, all the way that way. Little 8mm, so we put the throttle all the way to slow. We push the linkage all the way to slow. And then when we get this tight, we'll check it because we want to be sure that it chokes. And it does. So we have the throttle lever correct. Okay, now then we want to hook up this ground wire that we took off here, but it's got a fork terminal on it I don't like. We'll change that. Plug this connector in like so. Let's change that to a ring terminal with a 1/4 inch hole. Let's see what size that bolt is. Crimp it on, crimp it on. Had this little bracket on it. It's not used for anything, so I think I won't replace it. long-winded. Tight. Uh-oh. Gotta reorient the ground wire so it'll reach the battery. Perfect. There we go. Alright, now we just got to put these tins back on the front. Alright, we got all those covers back on. Good to go. It's full of oil, just a little over full. I think that's enough to fill the filter. And we'll obviously check it again. Probably change it too before it does any real work. Get an engine open, and it was a little dirty, and you know, we'll flush it out a little bit. Before we really put it to work, we'll change it again. So I got the brake lock, fuel's hooked up, throttle's hooked up, battery's hooked up, everything's plugged in, I can remember. The belt's on, tensioner, the spring tensioner is all hooked up underneath. We should be good to go. Gonna have to spin enough to pump fuel into the carburetor. Here we go. It runs. Now we get to fiddle with the setting of the governor. Alright guys, it's governor adjustment time. So the governor shaft comes out of the engine and we want it sitting on the pin, okay? So right now it's loose. This has a narrowed spot so you can get a crescent wrench on it. Yours might have something different. So this all the way forward, right? So it's sitting on the pin. And then we want full throttle on the carburetor. And you know it's full throttle because it's the opposite way of being on the idle adjustment screw. So all the way forward is wide open throttle. All the way forward is governor on the pin. And we'll just tighten that up. Okay. We got movement against the spring. It should be fine. Remember, the governor wants to slow this down. When it faster it goes, the more effort it's going to put in to slow it down. So, yeah, now it's nothing left to do but test run it. All right, ready for a little governor control. Chokage. Having a hard time staying running though. Wonder if it's that fuel pump. I can hear my exhaust gasket too leaking. Let me warm it up a minute. got something in my new carburetor. I'll have to pull that off and clean it. But old lines and old filters, and we've had the thing upside down and things like that. I guess that can happen. But hey, the governor is great. You can see there in its resting position. If you kind of watched it kind of work back and forth, and he was even surging a little bit. So we got a governor. That's a good thing. So I got to figure out what's next for this, but that's good to have that piece done. I don't have an air filter in it yet either. They hadn't arrived at the moment that I was getting this thing going. So, all right, guys, that's a wrap on the governor. We've got the motor out, took it apart, put the governor in, made a mistake or two. Stuff happens, but it's back in, it's running. We got some parts coming, lots of parts coming today and tomorrow for this thing. So exhaust gasket, fuel pump, air filters here. But a lot of parts are here, like to rebuild the deck and such. So I'm going to continue kind of assessing this thing a little bit today. Make sure I have everything coming that it needs to be coming. And we'll kind of go from there. And I'll probably have to pop that carburetor off and give it a little clean, because sounds like she's plugged in the idle circuit there. So got no low end, but engine runs good. Guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate the comments. Remember, I check comments every morning. This thing's going to be in a playlist called John Deere Riding Mowers. And there's a whole bunch of other ride mowers that we've done, and some we're working on still, and they're all going to be in that playlist. So go in there and poke around and watch another video if you wouldn't mind, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, a little bonus footage. I pulled that carburetor off and cleaned it. It still wasn't running right, but as I'm running the engine, it's starting to run better. I did put an air filter in it, and that helped also. But yeah, idles right down. It's got good governor control. So it's all good. All right, guys, catch you on the next one.